And in actual fact, that seems to work well for producing high curcumin content turmeric. And the process is pretty straightforward. You actually get it, you grind it, and you actually use water to extract the curcumin from it.
Well, guys, we're doing another interview. We're here with Graeme today. Thanks, Graeme. Thanks for coming along.
My pleasure.
How are you?
I'm good, actually.
Excellent.
Thank you. It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. Look around. Beautiful spot here. Now, the other topic we wanted to discuss, you being the supplier of the curcumin powder to us.
Yep.
I guess most of you guys know it's our best product. Your powder, whether it's in capsules or the powder form, is our absolute top seller in different variations with coca or with coffee. It's just a great product, great feedback. Tell us a bit more about where is the curcumin / in this case, where is the turmeric growing, and maybe how you process it to then make it to this high concentrated pure curcumin powder.
We have a farm, and it's in the foothills of Vietnam, just near Sapa. Sapa's in northern Vietnam. It's quite close to Hanoi, and it's got an unusual climate. It has very, very hot summers and very cold winters. And in actual fact, that seems to work well for producing high curcumin content turmeric. And the turmeric is actually, as everyone knows, is the actual rhizome, it's the root, right? And what's in that turmeric is the actual curcumin element, which is the active ingredient. It's like saying bananas and potassium. If you're potassium deficient, you can either eat 50 bananas or you can just take the potassium, and the potassium will do the job.
Yeah.
And this is like the active part of the turmeric. And we actually, it grows underground for most of the year, about 10 months, and sprouts typically around November. And it just grows like mad for a month, and it gets up to about 1 meter high, and then the leaves kind of wilt, and then you know it's time to harvest it. It's really quite an unusual product. And people say to us, like, well, aren't you gonna because it's our farm, and my wife goes over there at the harvest time, but there's nothing to do. It's just six hectares of dirt. You could go over there and there's absolutely nothing you can do to help. You can't see it. It's underground. So it just pops up about November, and then you have to dig it up and get the rhizomes, and the process is pretty straightforward. You actually get it, you grind it, and you dry it. We have a drying tunnel, and you dry it, and then you actually use water to extract the curcumin from it, because it operates on the principle that the curcumin is fat soluble, right? And it doesn't mix with the turmeric, which is water soluble. So because it's fat soluble, it floats. So you keep skimming it off. You put it and mix it together, and we keep skimming off the top, which is very high concentrate curcumin. That's how we actually separate the two. And so there is some curcumin out there that they use some nasty chemicals to extract. We don't do that. We try not to actually use any chemicals.
Great. That's good to know. I think that's important for your customers, for our customers to know. Such a good natural product is not being diluted or
adulterated.
Yeah. with chemicals. So what's the other part in the turmeric? So there's curcumin in the turmeric. What sinks to the bottom? Is that the fiber?
It's the fiber.
Yeah.
Not to be forgotten, all turmeric is only about 3%. Even really good quality turmeric is only about 3% curcumin. So 97% of the actual plant is waste. So fiber and sap. And that's why people have problems taking turmeric, because the sap is very, very acidic. And so it really upsets people's stomach, whereas the curcumin is almost tasteless and is not acidic at all.
Wow.
So if you have a stomach that's easy to upset, if you take the curcumin, it won't upset your stomach. If you take turmeric, it will.
Yeah.
And will give you, heartburn and all these things. So we say to people we do get people who say, oh, I've heard that the turmeric upsets your system. And I say, well, if you take curcumin, it will tend not to happen.
Great. I was actually not aware of the sap in the turmeric, that this is creating the issues.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
And it's very similar as a plant to ginger, and the fiber in turmeric and the fiber in ginger is similar in its long fiber, and it's very, very hard to digest. So you don't need the fiber and you don't need the sap.
Yeah.
So all that you've got left is 2 to 3% of the curcumin.
So you grind it, you dry it, it goes in water. I'm now simplifying.
You
and
mix
then the
it.
curcumin, exactly, you stir it up. The curcumin goes to the top. You
Yep.
skim it off.
Yep.
You dry it again.
Keep doing it
And you're doing that
over and
until
over.
you've got pretty much turned the ratio around.
Correct.
And then it's 95% curcumin.
Yep.
And I guess there's always something left that you can't
sludge. It's really nasty.
can't get out. And I think that's the key for everyone to understand, that the ratio roughly is 20-1. If you think about it, let's say 3, let's make for simplicity 5% curcumin at the beginning and 95% fiber. And then with this process it's being turned around, and then you've got the 95 curcumin. That means you would have to eat 20 grams of turmeric powder, which, as we learned, is actually not even easy to digest,
No.
to get all the healthy benefits of 1 gram of curcumin powder. And recommended is something between, let's say, 1.5 gram, depending what you're reading. That's good to know. I think that's important to understand, that it makes it a lot easier to actually build it into your daily diet. Now, the third topic I'd like to touch on is actually the people running the farm in Vietnam. You mentioned that your wife is going over there.
Yeah, she goes over there for harvest,
Yep.
except for the time when COVID was here where we couldn't go.
Yep.
But I lived myself and my wife lived in Vietnam for 14 years. We know it very well.
Yep.
And so we got to know this lady. Tell you the story quickly. It was a terribly sad story because this lady had a turmeric farm and she was having a baby, and they gave her an epidural and missed and made her paraplegic. So she was in a terrible situation
Wow.
of having a turmeric farm and being, handicapped. So we offered to step in and help. We bought part of the farm from her. We agreed to pay her a certain amount of money every month so she can survive and do well.
Yep.
And we helped her with the equipment and all those things. So we became part owners with her.
Great.
Her name is Miss Hua, and she's done really well. She now has an electric wheelchair, which is the only one in this town.
Wow.
And she is actually doing really well for a lady who was in big trouble. And so it's kind of a good story that she benefited, and a lot of other people now have benefited because of that, happy situation.
And I guess, if I look at how much I'm buying from you, we're buying more and more every year. I guess that's the overall, that you in general have more and more people buying from you. So are you expanding, and how do you cope with the additional demand? Have you added more land, or?
We haven't, and we've deliberately kept it to where we can manage it.
Yeah, good.
We're not sort of wild expansionists, and so we don't really want to get it into being bigger.
Yeah.
Because in some cases that A can drive you crazy, and B doesn't really make you that much more money.
Yeah.
And also Miss Hua has a limited amount of land, and this valley where our farm's located, it's been growing turmeric for 300 years. And that's really interesting because the Vietnamese don't eat curry. So what it means is they've been growing medicinal turmeric for 300 years.
Wow, yeah.
Before Australia was even settled.
Yeah.
So it's been a traditional crop for them. They use it for pretty much everything, and they've been using it for a long time.
Yeah.
So they're really good at growing therapeutic turmeric.
And you mentioned earlier also that the climate, so the fact that they always been growing therapeutic, and it's an ideal climate for higher curcumin concentration.
Yes, it is because of the cold
Right.
winters. Yeah, for some reason, like there's a lot of turmeric grown in India, and nothing wrong with that, except what happens is you get hot summers and hot winters, and it tends to grow lower curcumin level. You can have the turmeric, it's not as strong, put it that way. And so it's actually this Vietnamese stuff which is grown specifically for as a type of medicine, as a natural medicine, and they have really deliberately set out to get as high a curcumin as they can out of the crop.
That's also very interesting to know, because often people ask us, so where is it from? And obviously I say Vietnam, but it's good to know that actually the climate, but also the whole background that they've been doing it for 300 years is different. Is there anything else you can share with us?
I believe that curcumin, and turmeric indeed, but curcumin specifically, is so well researched.
Yeah.
There's so much information. When the surgeon showed me this printout, it's about 5 pages long, that it's just incredibly medical and incredibly complex. I'm going, wow, there's somebody out there looking very hard at this product. And I think that it should give people confidence.
Yeah.
Because it's not some wild and crazy everything that a few people dreamt up. This is a very traditional, very well researched, and now very well studied product.
If you have any questions related to this, feel free to email us, and we're more than happy to get Graeme involved and answer related to what the story, because you might have a similar story or you have a surgery coming up. Just reach out to us. It'll be good to hear from you. Thanks, Graeme.
Pleasure, my pleasure, and I'm glad that we can share it.
Appreciate your time. That was excellent. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we're looking forward to get any feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great.